He knows it's going to be another unpleasant morning. The teacher waves her hand, ordering him to come forward. Come here, you brat. She keeps scolding the students for always being late, even on exam days. Why is that? Gelson helplessly mumbles an apology. I'm sorry, my niece wouldn't let me leave. After hearing the reason, the teacher sighs. One is late because of a kind uncle. The other is late because she was busy drawing a masterpiece on her face. The teacher forcefully pulls the two heads together. It's always these two, every day the same. Then she leaves just one sentence before closing the door. Kang Gelson, Bek Chan Bi, please be on time for me. I'm begging you. Outside the window, the rain still falls softly. Chan Bi fiddles with the umbrella strap. The two stand next to each other but say nothing. This moment, when I have to stand in the hallway for being late, is so silent it's suffocating. She always stands beside me, stammering as if wanting to say something but then stopping because she's embarrassed. I bend down to pick up the umbrella for Chan Bi. When I arrive at school, she quickly grabs the handle. I get to meet Bek Chan Bi, the girl who secretly likes me. She uses one hand to tuck her hair and the other to hold the umbrella. Her expression is a little shy. Thank you, Kang Gelson. She usually wears a bit too much makeup, but that doesn't matter. Wondering how I know she likes me? Chan Bi stammers, trying to cover up. No, I mean thanks. Or maybe I'm just imagining it? Well, I'm not stupid enough not to realize it, because of how she treats others. When someone calls her loudly, Chan Bi responds without emotion. A male student grumbles. Can't you move your facial muscles a bit? Chan Bi calmly replies, don't tell me how to use my face. Gelson realizes this treatment is completely different from how she treats me. He stands silently watching a ping-pong match, deep in thought. At first, she only acted like that with me. Her face would blush shyly every time she saw me. But since the beginning of this year, her attitude toward me has changed 180 degrees. I don't know what I did to make her dislike me. I keep cluelessly thinking about how everything turned out this way. Suddenly, a hand holds up a paper, covering half of Chan Bi's face. Both friends are stunned. With a gloomy tone, the teacher calls Chan Bi, who panics upon hearing it. The paper boldly wipes across her face. The teacher smiles, but her tone is sharp. I told you not to wear makeup to school anymore. Chan Bi hurriedly hugs the half-wiped face. You can't do that in class. The teacher pulls out another tissue, wiping while saying, natural beauty is a priceless gift at your age. You know that, right? She stubbornly calls out, Miss. Chan Bi glances at me standing nearby and quickly says, Wait a moment. Seeing my confused face, she becomes even more panicked. Wait a moment, but the teacher keeps wiping off the makeup. Chan Bi covers her face in embarrassment, shouting, Please wait a moment. She covers her face with both hands. I understand. Let me go to the bathroom to erase it, then I'll come back for you to check, so please stop now. Watching Chan Bi rush into the bathroom, I understand every gesture shows she's paying attention to me, and I'm fully aware of that. I lower my head, but only to hide a joyful smile. That's why I really like going to school, no matter how troublesome it is. I mean, how could I not like it? When a beautiful girl like her likes me? The classroom lights shine outside the building. Holding a stack of papers, my shoes make noise as I complain. But no matter what, trouble is still trouble. I tilt my head to the ceiling, complaining, why can't I remember this damn thing? They make me present without looking at the materials. After saying that, I focus intently on each page, telling myself, but still had to try. Chan Bi stood outside, quietly peeking in, startling him, and he realized Bek Chan Bi saw him being caught. She was flustered and didn't know what to do. Having no other choice, she quietly opened the door. She gently asked Kang Gelson what he was doing in here. He was a bit shy to answer. I'm practicing for tomorrow's presentation. This made her even more flustered. Oh right, you're the one presenting in English. Then the two fell silent again. She cautiously continued, do you mind if I stay? Jello's face was slightly stunned, but his heart was racing. I don't mind at all, as long as you're okay with it. With approval, Chan Bi stepped into the classroom where there was no AI monitoring the self-study session after tonight's class. So now everyone is too noisy. I can't concentrate, he accidentally said, letting out a sentence that made her freeze. I'm sure it's a bit noisy, but you didn't bring any study materials either. She plopped down on the chair opposite, slammed her notebook on the table. She gently said it's okay. Besides, you need to memorize all that, right? I can help, but if you don't need it, Jilo stayed still without waiting for her to finish speaking before answering. I need it. Seeing that Chan Bi requested, okay then, try skipping the last page. The two happily exchanged ideas in the classroom. No more reminders, but I'll try. She reminded him, and don't peek at the paper. He kept talking about the amount of homework just studied. Suddenly I became serious and remembered a lot, but every time Gelson spoke, she made him correct it, yet he was very happy. This is really effective. He looked at Chan Bi's face thinking silently, if not for this opportunity. How could I be alone with her like this? Suddenly she looked up at him, startled, reading clumsily. A change, a transformation shown. No, and was shown in situations like this, and then couldn't keep reading anymore. Jello had to hold the materials and read again. What was it? She also blushed a bit. She was a little awkward, reminded him to name 3 literary works. But you've improved a lot. He didn't pay attention, only cared to ask, are you okay? She stammered asking, or should we go to the convenience store? Her face was half covered by the iPad, eyes focused, watching his attitude when he memorized everything. I mean, you tried very hard, but his heart couldn't help but shout passionately. Youth is wonderful. Without hesitation, he replied quickly, but people say, life is full of surprises. The teacher's voice echoed steadily from the classroom. Question 12, choose A. Question 13, choose A. At that moment, I felt pumped full of dopamine. Students attentively corrected according to the answers being read. Question 14, choose B. Question 15, choose E, and completely unaware of the approaching crisis. And that day was when everything began. He held the paper in his hand happily. That's okay. The last day of midterms. It was still raining heavily outside, and he was still planning his projects, going all out, binge-watching Netflix. On weekends, he slept in, watched movies at home. While carefully putting away each document, he told himself he would finish everything. Suddenly, she appeared right beside him, asking Kang Gelson how his exam went. He was startled and exclaimed, "Huh, Bek Chan Bi." She thought he hadn't heard. About to ask again about his exam, he quickly answered, "I did, according to what I studied. Probably." The two sat down under the locker, chatting. "Then surely you did well." He laughed and asked, "What about you?" Her voice was steady through the mask. "Me too. So you did well too, huh?" Jilo laughed awkwardly, inwardly wondering what was wrong with her. She never prolonged conversations with him. When others were around, he just thought that Chan Bi was already tense, biting her nails, saying, "I have something to ask. You know, tomorrow we don't have to study after class, so I plan to ask. If you're not busy then, could you hang out with me? Just the two of us. I have something important to tell you." Jello was so happy he could turn to stone. Important matters just between the two of us. He closed the locker door and asked if she still had work tomorrow. She hurriedly explained, "I applied to work today so I can rest tomorrow." The more she spoke, the more flustered and nervous she became. "I mean, after everything you've done for me, I want to repay by going out together and stuff. If I agree, there will definitely be something changed between us." Whether I want it or not, his mind was in turmoil, wondering if he could do it. This isn't about studying, but just the two of us. In that situation, what should I do? If she finds me boring, then what? Or if things between us become more awkward, then what? So why not just let everything stay the same? His hands were drenched in sweat as he quietly said, "Actually, I have dinner plans with my family tomorrow, so I probably can't go." His mind was spinning, but if only I felt okay with the present, then what about Chan Bi? What about her? What is she thinking? What does she want? His words were gloomy like the dark sky outside. "I'm really sorry," Jello said, walking in the rain like a lost soul, still smiling and asking about Gelno. "I saw you and Bek Chan Bi calling each other, talking about something together. Finally, you've started connecting with her, huh? I mean, you two always act weird around each other." Remembering when she awkwardly reacted when he refused, "It's okay. Next time. Next time we meet," he hung his head, blaming himself. "I'm such an idiot, only thinking about myself." Uhyok, unaware of what had happened, curiously pushed his shoulder. "What's wrong? Did you fail the test or something? Tell me." Meanwhile, Chan Bi was frustrated, sighing. "Oh." She was stunned, looking at the heavy rain outside, suddenly realizing she forgot her umbrella. "Hiram, surprised too? That's strange. You always cling to your umbrella like it's a treasure. Come with me." "Anyway, it's almost movie time," she said helplessly. "What can I do now? Such an idiot." At the same moment, Chan Bi and Jelno, in two different places, both blamed themselves with the same sentence. Her call kept ringing steadily through the phone. "All right, I got it." The whole living room was filled with her complaints. How can someone be 18 years old and still not know how to use the washing machine? "I can't even imagine what the house will be like when our parents come back. Will you be able to wake up tomorrow? Do you want me to call you to wake you up?" Jello quickly refused. "No, I need some time alone." She scolded him again. "You're so careless. No matter what, you have to remember to eat something. Don't cause trouble, okay?" He casually replied, "Yes, ma'am." Jello lay down disappointedly, sliding from the sofa to the floor. "Family dinner? What's that?" His parents were on a business trip, and his sister lived alone. Suddenly thinking about Chan Bi, his heart was full of self-blame. Kang Gelson, no. Why did you make up such a story to refuse her? She must have gathered all her courage to say that. Suddenly, a lightning bolt flashed, like cheering on his determination. "All right, tomorrow at school, I'll be the one to ask her out first." No matter what, he was fired up, telling himself he must invite Bek Chan Bi out. Then he silently stood outside the classroom door, seriously thinking, "I don't have any dinner plans at all. I know that, so it's just the two of us." Looking at Chan Bi's desk still empty, he wondered why she hadn't arrived yet. "I have to talk to her." Suddenly someone shouted loudly, "Gao no! Gao no! Wake up! Breaking news!" The loud voice startled him awake. "What? What is it?" Hiram ran over excitedly. "Please, I haven't done my math homework. Let me copy it, okay? Sharing is caring." She was still smiling, but before she finished, Jello caught her with a judging look and complained, "Why do you always bother to copy my homework? Wouldn't it be easier to just copy the answers?" She raised a like button and said, "If you want to do that, you need some knowledge first. If your head is as empty as mine, even looking at the answers won't help you know what to copy." He was impressed by Hiram's idea. That makes sense. She became serious again, nervously fiddling with her fingers. "Chan Bi isn't here, so let me borrow you for a bit. Do you know why she didn't come today?" She told him something that stunned him. I heard she hit her head on a box full of beer bottles while working. She couldn't come because of a severe headache. I planned to go to her house after school. After hearing this, Gelno hurriedly asked, but she lives alone. Is that okay? Hearing that, she got excited. What? How do you know she lives alone? The two always looked awkward around each other. I thought you didn't know anything about her. Just as he finished, he grabbed the homework, making Hirim quickly say, sorry, but cleverly added, anyway, I already called her earlier. She answered normally, saying it wasn't serious. Even so, as time passed, Bek Chan Bi had been absent from school for 2 weeks straight, from gloomy rainy days to when the sun started to shine, and during that time, all I could find out was a phone ringing. Hello? Jello, do you have any photos of you and Chan Bi on your phone? No messages or anything is fine. He was in the library, replying, huh? What for? The person on the other end continued, you heard about her hitting her head, right? It turns out that after waking up today, she has no memory at all. Her entire first-year memories have disappeared completely. Kang Gelno was stunned. The phone slipped from his shoulder and fell. So that's it. Reality is so cruel. No memories of the past year at all. This is Kang Jian. Do you remember him? Chan Bi stood with her arms crossed in front of him and asked, aren't you friends with CEO Yu? Hi, okay. I saw you in the same class. Her face showed a ripple of emotions between us. Is there something important I need to know? He understood that she was no longer Bek. Chan Bi used to like me, but now we are like strangers. Because there is nothing left between us. The black umbrella was just raised high under the sunny sky when someone teased. Is he crazy? The two people standing nearby didn't hesitate to gossip. What are you doing with that umbrella? Alright, I'm starting to feel embarrassed. Jian held the umbrella with a blank, dazed face despite his friends calling him. Jian, he's gone crazy now. He seemed to sink into a shadow of regret. I was once happy she noticed me. Then I avoided her like a coward. Now when I want to fix my mistakes, it's already too late. Chan Bi's face was bright under the sun but full of indifference. And I remained foolish. Bek Chan Bi, who once liked me, is gone, leaving only me. With a heart still beating for her, Kang Jian Woojin wondered in his heart, what should I do now? Suddenly, a familiar voice spoke up. Kang Jian Woojin blushed and glanced sideways. When the two were still close, Bek Chan Bi once liked Kang Jian Woojin, her eyes sparkling. Full of emotion, she looked at him and said, in other words, she once liked me. I don't know what I did to make her like me. But she did, from March last year until now, and it was mutual feelings. For some reason, all those memories were lost. Chan Bi crossed her arms calmly and asked, is there something important between us that I need to know? Suddenly, Hiram ran over and stood between him and Kang Jian. She only answered one sentence that made him feel cold inside. No, nothing at all. Hiram seriously thought and said, I tried to find out if there was anything. But there was nothing. No messages, no pictures, and you two never went out alone. From what I know, maybe it was instinct. Chan Bi asked again. Nothing at all? Hiram confirmed. Not even a little. She stubbornly asked once more. Completely nothing? Hiram was even more determined. No. We only hung out in groups, that's all. Jian was so tense he was sweating. I know. Who would know the relationship between us? We were extremely careful not to be discovered by those busybodies. Suddenly, we should have let a little slip. He bit his lip in frustration. Who would have guessed things would turn out like this? Some friend joined in the fun. When I found out, I was shocked too. Then Yuhai OK sitting nearby asked, you don't remember anything from May? Last year until the day of the accident? She seriously replied, no. The last thing I remember was the interview to join the school club and finishing the midterm exam. So, she was embarrassed trying to piece together the memories from May last year. So it's exactly 1 year. She said a little regretfully, any relationship that was built has now completely disappeared. Hiram raised her hand to add, and that's when I appeared, introducing her to old friends. Yuhai OK sitting on the bench board asked, so why did you call us out here? Hiram explained. Hi OK, I called you to introduce you two to Chan Bi. They all looked confused sitting there. But we went to the same middle school, and you don't even remember? Of course I remember. No need for introductions. I already know these two. Yuhai OK suspiciously pointed at her. Oh my, you must have lost a whole year of memories to this girl. She carefully pointed at each person to distinguish. This chatterbox is CEO Yuhai OK. And that gloomy one is Yu Dong OK. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't forget you two. Dong OK calmly asked, do you remember when I transferred last year? She nodded. Yes. I recognized Dong OK, who was in my class. And you, Hai OK, was in 5th grade. I remember everything, Hiram said proudly. See how effective my method is, you idiot. Chan Bi's lips unconsciously curved into a smile. Jian watched her closely, silently judging. She looked completely normal as if nothing had happened, which might be better than being sad and gloomy. Yu Hyoke pointed at him excitedly. Oh right, there's that name too. The name she registered with. I registered too. Yu Hyok pointed at him excitedly and said, oh right, and that name too. The name she registered with. I also registered with it. Have you introduced her with that name yet? Dong Ok covered his mouth, smiling mysteriously. It's been a long time since I heard that story again. Hiram happily chimed in. Yeah, I completely forgot about that silly name from last year's club interview. Recalling the day, Gelno casually pointed at the blanket. Bai, sitting next to him, spoke up. I will register for the club if she also registers, causing a few counselors to freeze. What? No memory left? So when recalling that moment, it made her upset. I remember that name, so don't mention his name anymore. Then she flusteredly grabbed Helim and screamed, Please, Jae Hylam, you don't need to introduce those people to me anymore. Understood? Yoo Hyuk still happily added, Why not? I mean, who knows? Maybe among those people there is AI. You forgot. Just one word from you made her calm down. Like AI makes you shy or something like that. Bai said thoughtfully, AI is someone I once liked, so Gelno tensely glanced at her, slightly smirking and laughing, then casually pointed at himself and asked, Do I look like someone who would be shy around others? Really? Moreover, if I liked AI, we definitely would have gone somewhere together before. Even so, thank God nothing happened during that time. The volleyball gently tossed in the air. Gelno caught it while lost in thought. I guess everything wouldn't be this messed up. He looked over at Dong Ok, silently wondering if it were someone else. If only I knew about the feelings between the two. And if Bek Chan Bi no longer liked me, it wouldn't be different from me just imagining things. Dong Ok quickly seized the opportunity. The ball came, shouted, Here it comes, then powerfully smashed the ball away. If someone like me said you once liked me, who would believe that? Gelno missed the catch, his face close to the ball. A loud VA sound echoed. A friend gently called. Gelno suddenly a drop of blood fell on Dong Ok's glasses. Carefully asked, Are you okay? But what are you trying to do? Even Bek Chan Bi heard and saw his attitude completely changed. What's wrong with her? Dong Ok replied, No. It's just both of you got hit by the ball. He teased. Rubbing your head. Your nose is bleeding. I must have aimed at your poor nose. He casually wiped the blood without paying attention. Nearby, some female classmates gathered around Chanbi, worriedly asking, Are you okay? Hylam rushed over like flying. Chanbi, are you alright? It's not good. Not good. Are you okay? Dong Ok casually commented. A double nosebleed, huh? Over there, Chanbi's nose was also bleeding. A friend seriously advised the two to go to the infirmary, moving to another area of the classroom. Yes, at the infirmary, the two said in unison. We have nosebleeds. The person in charge of the infirmary was surprised. Both? Sit there and wait. I'll be done soon. Chanbi politely replied yes. Gentle sunlight shone through the window into the room. Suddenly, he and Chanbi sat silently, trying to stop the nosebleeds. This quiet moment made him uncomfortable with silence. Say something. He suddenly glanced at her. Chanbi carefully tucked her hair back and spoke up. I think it stopped. Seeing her expression, he easily realized that Bek Chan Bi no longer blushed around him and wasn't shy about her bare face anymore. Now just the two of them like this. I truly felt the difference. Though it was a bit too shocking, Gelno lowered his head, frustrated, sighed. She saw him sigh and paid attention, then seriously approached and quietly asked, Hi Gelno, do we have a conflict? Or something that others don't know about? No, I mean, AI said we're always shy around each other, and there's nothing between us. If we're drifting apart, there must be some reason, but when I tried to think about it, there was no reason to do that. In fact, it was completely the opposite. I thought I was trying to get close to you. Suddenly realizing I misspoke, she was flustered. Though surprised, she asked, Do we have something between us? Seeing Gelno frozen like stone, she called, Hey. He nervously started sweating. First of all, there's no conflict, really. We haven't even argued before. The infirmary nurse interrupted their conversation. All right, kids. I'm done. Don't mind it anymore. She stood up happily. Glad there's no conflict between us. Let's go. In the men's restroom, he told himself to stay calm. It will be okay. There's still plenty of time. And I realized, he put his glasses under running water carefully, washing off the blood. At least with her, I'm not invisible. Gelno happily raised his glasses high to look, thinking to himself, so now I should think about what to do next. Can't just sit still like before. If confessing feelings is impossible, then being best friends is fine. But how? He was so happy he blushed, his mind spinning with just one question. What should I do now? A classmate stepped into the restroom and spoke, startling him. Kang Jian, no. What are you doing here? He was a bit awkward. You scared me, Jusangun. I almost didn't recognize you. There! He laughed out loud teasingly. What are you doing? Wrong? Why are you so startled? You came to the infirmary with Chanbi, right? I didn't pay attention, he honestly replied. Yes, how do you know? Sang-yoon was resting on the bed, but they didn't notice. He said he was lying right next to them, but his face was half covered by the hood of his jacket. He couldn't grasp the intention behind the words. Anyway, did Chanbi come to school today? I was wondering too. I don't know when she will return. I heard about the accident but couldn't get in touch with her. He calmly continued. Is that so? Her old phone was broken, and she also has a new number and a new phone now. She didn't let you? Why? He asked an unrelated question. What happened to her old phone now? Gelno answered innocently. I think she said she threw it away, but I'm not sure. She is filling the void by asking friends to tell her what happened before and other things. While he was still busy talking, she can't remember most of the things that happened back in high school. So, Sang-gun grabbed his shoulder, focusing only on what he wanted. She doesn't remember? You mean, isn't it just a minor accident? Why? Gelno just realized. Isn't he close to Chanbi? It's just confusing, he replied. Chanbi lost all memories of 1 year because of that accident. He was stunned, pulling down the hood of his jacket, looking dazed. So it's true. Sang-yoon pulled his hair in frustration, complaining, 1 year? That means since freshman year, and her old phone is gone too. He worriedly asked, why? I have a bad feeling about this because I can see myself in this situation. Sang-yeon cursed angrily. Damn it, why does this kind of thing happen again? Gwon keenly noticed Ju Sang-gun's reaction. At that moment, he looked up and revealed a secret in his heart. She promised to give me an answer after the midterm exam. He was shocked and couldn't believe it. His face turned pale, overwhelmed by the information he just received. He has feelings for her? Does he like her? His face was pale as he tried to calm himself down. Stay calm, it will be okay. Bek Chan Bi isn't easily shaken like that. But wait, she doesn't like me anymore. The more he analyzed, the uglier Gelno's expression became. Then I will do what I need to do. And Ju Sang-gun will also do what he needs to do to win her heart. Really? From the start, we weren't on the same level. Sang-gun pulled his hair, muttering non-stop. I told Chan-bi that I like her. He felt sad, understanding that he was close to her and also liked by others. If someone like him confessed, surely. Suddenly, he continued, and Chan-bi also told me that she likes me. We were almost a couple. Gelno's eyes widened in surprise and confusion. The two teenagers stood still, looking at each other in bewilderment. Now Gelno stood frozen like a stone statue, his voice trembling. So you and Chan-bi both like each other? What? Sang-yoon hesitated but confirmed. Yes. He shyly confessed that neither of them liked to show off or make things obvious. So probably not many people knew about it. The midterm exam. Every word he said entered his ears and then left. What did I just hear? Looking at Sang's shy face, his head was in chaos, suddenly all tangled up. It's true that he was once close to her, and he wasn't the type to lie about things like this. Most importantly, it's not impossible that something happened between them. He screamed inside, but Bek Chan Bi once liked me. Gelno imagined many scenarios. Don't tell me I became a pet fish in Chan-bi's eyes, Sang-gun. Ah, this is my collection. He lowered his head tensely. She was just entrusting me with false hope? No, what am I thinking? I don't know the truth. I can't accept what I just heard, he reassured himself. That's right, she's not the Chan-bi I once knew. I should still keep some hope. And nothing is certain yet. Gelno clenched Ju Sang-gun's hand tightly. So what do you plan to do next? He hesitated a bit, then looked up and said regretfully, her memories won't come back immediately. So I will try my best to make everything return to how it was, without making Chan-bi worry. Every word he said made my heart cold and stunned. I haven't talked to her for a long time. She would be very sad if she saw herself as a stranger. My heart is in turmoil with all these thoughts, so he intends to conquer her heart once again. I didn't expect it could be decided so easily. I swallowed my tears and tried to act fine. But honestly, I hate to admit it, but it's really cool. On the contrary, why do I feel so disappointed? The next day, lunchtime break, the school lobby, students passing by densely. You, hi okay, boredly complained that today's lunch was really bad. Dong okay casually replied. Probably. While I followed the two of them like a lost soul, Yu Hi okay slipped, said it's Sang-gun, right? It's been a while. Over there Sang-yoon and Hiram were happily chatting. Dong okay was surprised. Is that Hiram next to him? What is this scene? Yu Hi okay didn't pay much attention, guessed roughly. Probably the girl was rambling about something. Just like every day, Chan-bi took a gummy candy from the pack and casually spoke. They're still there? She stood in a corner wondering why they had so much to talk about. Yu Hi okay laughed and pointed at Chan-bi teasingly. Is BA having a nosebleed? Dong okay helplessly corrected. It's a duo. She ate the candy while calmly saying, I still can't remember much, so I feel restless when Hylam isn't around. Dong okay thoughtfully asked. But you don't seem restless. What are you chewing? She offered the candy pack toward him. Gummy candies. Odette gave them to me to feel better. Do you guys want some? He casually replied, no, thanks, but you. Hi. Okay, was very nonchalant, quietly hiding behind the two of them, silently calling, feeling even more shy than before. Suddenly, the candy pack was held out in front of me. Chan-bi enthusiastically invited Kang Gelson. You like orange flavor, right? I won't eat it, so you can take them all, my heart happily realized. So she still remembers, smiling happily. Thank you, Chan-bi. Suddenly, a loud call rang out. Chan-bi's next words made me freeze. It was Ju Sang-gun, Hiram waving and pointing at Sang-gun, shouting loudly, here he is. Do you still remember Ju Sang-gun? Suddenly her face flushed a little, saying nothing. Sang-hoon shyly muttered. She doesn't need to go that far, he said shyly though. Anyway, I was really worried when I heard you lost your memory. Do you still remember me? Chan-bi cheerfully responded. Of course, we were in the same class last year. His voice became much happier. Really, that's great. After the accident, I couldn't contact you, so today I just found out about your amnesia. She took out her phone and said, oh right, I have your new number here. Wait a moment, he proactively requested. I'll call your phone. Chan-bi saved his number under the name Sang Junju, then nervously suggested, we used to hang out a lot together. You probably don't remember anything now, right? She said with a hint of emotion. No, I don't remember anything after May last year. When you have a chance, tell me about it. Sang-yoon enthusiastically replied. Sounds good, today is your first day back. So you must be tired, let's take it easy, he said, leaving a message. I'll drop by your class sometimes. Chan Bi waved calmly in response as he left. The four friends came out again. "You hi okay?" seriously commented. "What a strange atmosphere." Hiram agreed repeatedly. "I feel the same." Dong okay pulled me curiously, asking, "What is it?" Chan Bi turned back and explained, "We just talked a bit, and he's always sociable with everyone. You understand?" Yu Hai okay acted professionally, rubbing his chin and speaking. "But he's too restless. He's never been like that. You know what I mean?" Chan Bi silently listened to her, and looking at him, "There's also some regret," she calmly said, stroking her hair. "Did you and him ever have something?" Hiram brightened up and said, "I once caught you two at Donan after school around last year." Yu Hai okay added, "We asked after that, but you insisted you were just friends, so we just took it as that." Now J-Lo is dazed like a lost soul, silently thinking I have nothing to do with it. Why do things related to him keep appearing like this? Yu Hai okay laughed innocently. "I knew it, you little rascals, so there really is something." Hiram also joined in. "I mean, Ju Sang-gun isn't a bad choice," the two of them said in unison. "We officially recognize the relationship between you two." Chan Bi awkwardly tried to explain, "You guys are overdoing it, it's not like that." From the classroom, several female students' voices rang out. "Bek Chan Bi, I brought some pictures we took last month." Yuna pointed at herself and asked, "Chan Bi, do you still remember me? Yesterday we just met, and the girl next to me also asked if this was a photo from the picnic. Have you seen it yet?" Everyone kept asking, making her temporarily unable to answer. "Do you remember me? You're Yuna, Jiang Yuna." Datun hugged her head, reminding her to calm down. "Guys, her brain is about to overload. Classmate, raise your phone and speak up, Datun. Did you show her what I sent?" The girl replied indifferently, "I did." Then the classmate scrolled through another photo. "And this one too." She pointed at the photo. "This is Ji Hiram." Datun suddenly remembered. "Ra, where is Hiram?" Chanbi calmly answered, "She went to rest." The girl was surprised. "Huh?" It had only been one day when another person approached. Song Hyun gently came closer and spoke first. "You still have a lot to hear after yesterday, right?" His face flushed. "I already recorded everything I should tell you, but I think it's better to leave it for later." Chanbi didn't pay much attention, just casually replied, "I'm not done with those guys yet. Let's leave it for later." The girl standing next to her was stunned. The girl said, "Are they done talking now? If so, do whatever you want. Chanbi is yours now." Looking at Chanbi and Sangyeon walking out the classroom door, a curious girl asked, "Did they have something going on?" Datun added, "Last year, they often hung out together," and the two girls started gossiping. "I just remembered, Ju Sang-gun is also okay." Gello, sitting behind, overheard everything the girls were talking about. The secret love story of Bek Chan Bi was revealed this way. Since that day, Ju Sang-gun came to class every day to call Chanbi to meet Big Chanbi, and the two of them went together, making every classmate turn their heads every day. Even Jello had to look back at them, while I couldn't or wouldn't do anything. Standing by the roadside, he silently thought, "Forget school." A dark shadow surrounded his mind. "I really don't want to go to school at all." The traffic light turned green, and Jello walked while lost in thought. "I don't know what to do to find out who Chanbi really liked, and I don't have the courage to interfere between them and say that person is me." The green light faded and was about to turn red. Chanbi hurriedly ran. He was dazed, talking to himself inside, imagining the scene where he could only watch them and couldn't do anything. Chanbi crossed the street while saying, "I know, I'm running here." She was surprised to see him ahead, shouting louder. He saw her and awkwardly greeted, "Hey," she spoke haltingly, panting. "Why did you come alone?" Normally, he was surprised to see her and thought, "It's been a while, just the two of us." But she looked a bit pale and tired. Normally, after just running a little, her head felt like it was about to explode. Suddenly, she pressed her lips together and quietly said she felt like vomiting, which also alarmed him. They sat down in a corner of the street. Gurno continuously patted her back to help her vomit. He was also scared, stiff. What kind of morning is this? Isn't she supposed to be better now? The more he thought, the more worried he became. No, no, no. Please don't faint in front of me. He hurriedly searched his bag but couldn't find anything. "I have to take you to the hospital. If you stay like this, going to school will only get worse." He handed her a bottle of water and kindly reminded, "Rinse your mouth, then." Chanbi, exhausted, raised her phone trembling, requesting, "Call him for me, please." Then she asked him to come pick her up. His calm and polite voice sounded from the corner of the street. "Yes, we will wait in front of Chanbi's house," not forgetting to reassure her. "You must be very worried, but please drive carefully," Jello gently reported back to Bek Chan Bi. "He will be here in about 10 minutes. Try to get to the front of the house. Do you think you can stand up?" Seeing her not reply made him nervous. He called Chanbi. Her pale face trembled with sweat pouring down. He thought to himself, "I heard being sick alone is the loneliest thing." His finger slowly moved closer to her face, gently tapping her cheek. He guessed she didn't want to show it. Then he stood up, running his hands through his hair. "Anyway, what should I do now? I don't think she can stand up anymore. Her house is just over there." But suddenly he thought of an idea. "Should I carry her?" Then his phone rang again. He raised it to his ear to listen. It was Sang Junju calling. He looked at the phone screen suspiciously. Why is he calling Bek Chan Bi so early in the morning? Suddenly, a voice echoed from somewhere. "Huh? What's going on?" Sang Jun held the phone and walked forward, coldly asking, What are you guys doing here? Chan Bi, are you with him? What's going on? He bent down to look at her pale face and asked, Han Chan Bi, what's wrong? Are you sick? She had fainted. Then he looked up at him coldly and asked Kang Gelson, what's wrong with Chan Bi? Why are you with her? He immediately explained, I met her on the way to school. Then she started vomiting, and that's how it happened. Her brother is coming soon, but I need to help her outside the house. At this moment, Sang-yoon finally showed a relieved face. So you just happened to meet her, right? He explained further, no matter what, we have to go. She's sick. We can't leave her like this. He reached out his hand, asking for her bag. Give it to me, he suddenly asked again. What? He smiled calmly, implying to send him away. I'll take her home. I know where she lives, so you just go ahead. Let me help. He hesitated, suggesting maybe we go together, but he cut him off. I don't think we need two people. His voice suddenly deepened. Come on, Kang Gelson. You understand my situation better than anyone else, right? He seemed friendly, reminding that only you know, so you understand better than anyone. Please let us go if you get my point. Sang-yoon helped Chan Bi up, repeating, you can go now. Jilo only noticed his hand on her waist as he said, you should go now if you don't want to be late again. But he still hesitated, looking at Chan Bi's pale face. I know I've never been useful before, but right now this is the last chance to do something for her. Yet now what am I doing? Just standing here watching you Sang-yoon take her away like that? Really? Jilo spoke up. Wait. Sang-yoon turned around waiting for the next words, but he just awkwardly raised the phone, saying, take her phone. He smiled and thanked him. Then the three went in two different directions. Jilo walked awkwardly thinking, she's sick. I shouldn't waste more time arguing with him. But he suddenly froze, a mess swirling inside him. Why does he think they are okay? Clearly they were standing in a hidden corner. Do they often meet to go to school together or what? Should I have slipped between them and followed? Should I have been the one to take her home when I had the chance? He sighed, blaming himself. Oh God, I can't believe myself. Damn this world. Sang-yoon gently spoke. Chan Bi, we're home now. Let's sit here and wait a bit. She sat down on the curb, holding her face in pain. Home? He sat beside her, constantly asking, how do you feel? Do you recognize me? Her pale face stammered each word. You are Ju Sang-gon. Then she covered her face and looked down. You shouldn't be at school, right? Oh God, I'm such a bother. He cheerfully replied, of course I should be here with you. Chan Bi's voice trembled softly. Sorry. She tiredly pressed her hand to her cheek and whispered, I know you're trying your best for me. You even went to find out everything to help me remember my memories. But I keep forgetting again and again. You must be very annoyed. I'm really sorry. Sang-yoon smiled shyly. I'm not annoyed at all, so you don't need to apologize. He spoke while holding her hand. I told you, you don't need to feel guilty. He pulled out his phone, searching while speaking generously. Even before you lost your memory, I was the one who liked you first, and confessed his feelings to her. She was shocked hearing every word he said, and I'm very happy. Even if I have to do it all over again if necessary, I don't mind. Hiram was chatting with Gelson. So what happened this morning? I thought Chan Bi was just sick and lying at home. Then Dongguk happened to see everything from the bus. Dongguk leaned back on the computer desk and replied, only up to the part where they met. Jello just gave a brief answer, but inside he silently called out, if Dongguk hadn't asked first, I wouldn't have told. Hiram couldn't help but say, but Ju Sang-hun keeps poking his nose into Chan Bi's business all the time. That guy keeps repeating himself. He said indifferently, she'll get better soon. But Hiram added, I know, you should do something about it. Hearing that, he quickly made an excuse to leave. I'm going back to my place. However, all his actions were noticed by Dongguk. He called Hiram over secretly, waving her back. Hiram was confused. Aren't you leaving? He ran over and whispered in her ear. After hearing it, Hiram's eyes widened. Then she ran to him. Smiling happily, she started a conversation. Kang Gelson, can you accept this for me? He looked at her phone screen and asked again. Accept what? A call? Hiram didn't say more and shoved the phone into his hand. Take it. Why do you look so dazed? WHY, did you hand me the phone? On the other end, a voice answered the phone. Hello, Jilo hesitantly answered. Sorry, may I ask who is this? The voice on the other end replied quickly. I thought you had something to say. Suddenly, he was startled. Without looking, he knew the voice on the other end was Bek Chan Bi. Hiram showed a dangerous expression, implying a slight inhale so you could tell her how much you care about her. This operation was masterminded by Dong Ok himself. Jello pressed the phone to his ear, stammering, Chan Bi, it's Gello here. Hello, my head is spinning like a top. I have something to say, and I'm very happy to hear your voice. But how should I start? The voice on the other end, Chan Bi, remained silent, waiting for him to speak. Are you feeling any better? She calmly replied, I feel much better after getting an IV and taking a nap. Suddenly, she realized, wait, Ji Harim, right? She forced you to take this call, didn't she? Feeling hit in the heart, he flustered and denied. No, it's not like that. I just thought you were about to faint in front of me this morning, so I just wanted to check if you were okay. As soon as he finished speaking, Chan Bi's eyes widened in surprise. Her voice was amazed as she said over the phone, You were there this morning too? He immediately admitted it. Her voice on the other end was so loud it startled both of them. I knew it. That was you, right? I know there's still someone else. So you're the one I met first, right? Oh my, I just found out now. Sorry about that, he gently reassured. It's okay. It's not your fault, she said, repeatedly turning pale. No, 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 no. As he spoke again, just then, the phone in Chanbi's hand was snatched away. Chanbi's older brother darkened his face and spoke in a deep voice. Hi, Rim, right? I'm Chanbi's older brother. Please keep an eye on my sister for me, okay? He continued talking. She was diagnosed with exhaustion. Can you believe that? She hastily grabbed the phone back, blushing furiously, slammed the hang-up button, and shouted, Are you crazy? That's not Ji-Hiraim. He didn't pay much attention and replied, I guessed it wasn't really her. Then he stepped out of the room, not forgetting to remind her, Get up and eat your porridge. After that, Chanbi crawled down from the bed, wondering, Why porridge? I'm fine. He carried the porridge out and cheerfully said, No, do you want me to move in and tie you up too? She sat at the table and thanked him for the meal. Chanbi's older brother was removing his apron when he suddenly remembered and said, By the way, your old phone is being repaired, right? She asked. Your old phone? What for? He suggested to her. You can use it right before the accident happened. Who knows? Maybe there's something in there that can help you regain your memory. Then he nagged a bit. See? You told me not to do that part-time job before, but I didn't listen, she stubbornly argued back. It's not your fault you don't remember. I'm also going crazy over this. You know, in the schoolyard, students passed by busily. Chanbi clutched a can of drink tightly in her hand, walking and thinking, Are they renovating this area? It looked a bit different. The can of soft drink was just handed to her as she drank. Suddenly, a male student passed by and spoke, making her jump. Hello, Chanbi. She choked but tried to reply, Hello. Two other male students walked by, chatting. Wow, it's true, see? I told you she'd say hello back. She overheard everything they whispered to each other. How could I say hello to such a beautiful person? Let's go. She was dazed, wondering what just happened. Then a voice called from behind. Bek Chan Bi recognized it as a classmate and greeted back, Hello, Yeonju. She showed concern, asking, Did anything happen at school today? I heard you were sick yesterday and had to stay home. Chanbi gave a brief reply. It wasn't serious. She then changed the subject. Oh, I haven't had a chance to mention this earlier, Yeonju continued. Do you still remember the upcoming meeting with the people from Hyo School? I'm wondering what we should do about that. She froze on the spot, wondering who those people were. The meeting was postponed indefinitely. Feeling frustrated, she dragged herself up the stairs when two male students passed by, making her jump. One said, But you weren't there. Sang-hoon saw her and happily waved. Hi. She forced a smile and replied, Hi. Suddenly remembering, he confessed to me, but I haven't given him an answer yet, she tiredly realized. It feels like my head is about to explode. What kind of life was I living before I lost my memory? Like recalling the moment she smiled and pointed at my face, even though why? Luckily, nothing happened throughout that year. Just like the first day, she seemed lost among the chaotic memories. Jotting down some important notes and remembering a few things I wanted to remember, I thought that would be enough to fill the lost time of a year's memory, but WHY did so many things happen during that time. Yet I had to constantly face new things that I didn't even know about, while still busy trying to catch up with other matters. Will my life always be like this? WHY. When will it ever stop? While panicking with all these thoughts, someone called her name. Big Chanbi Dedon from the other row of desks spoke up, saying we're skipping self-study after class today, right Hiram? Suddenly asked if you're not eating dinner either. She packed up and replied, Today I really need something delicious to make up for the whole day. Yesterday I only ate porridge outside the school gate. Dong-ok stepped down a few stairs, took the initiative to speak. Didn't we just get a ride from a motorbike taxi? The name that always fiercely sacrifices friendship and abandons why. It seems there's no more loyalty between us now. Jilo casually replied, What's strange? He's always been like that. Then he turned around and cheerfully asked, You hi-ok, we're going to your house, right? Then he casually dropped a sentence suddenly, It's very important. The two changed direction, walking the other way. He looked at his phone and said, Tomorrow we have to give him a beating Chanbi. Standing in front of the vending machine, Dong-ok noticed the two and joked, You're going home? So jealous. Let me come with you. She seriously pointed out, You're going home too. But he still dodged and joked, No way. Yu Hyok left us, so we're staying to study after class. She waved the card in her hand and asked, So you guys plan to go to the canteen to eat? Dong-ok smugly closed his eyes. No. We'll treat ourselves to a super delicious meal when that guy isn't here. Making her curious as if he answered. The faux restaurant right in front of us, Chanbi replied indifferently. Sounds simple. She turned her head and pointed to the restaurant across the street right in front of them. You mean that restaurant? Following her direction, it's a Vietnamese pho restaurant, he added. And it definitely won't be a simple meal. Chanbi looked up at the two and said, Let me come with you. I've wanted to go there for a long time. She spread out a restaurant loyalty card as proof. See, I used to eat there a lot. Jello looked at the card surprised. A point card? He suddenly remembered a moment she once said, Of course you should go. You've collected 10 stamps already, Kangelo whatever, just ignore them and take me with you. Then he suddenly said, Right? If you really used to go there quite often. Dong-ok took it and examined the loyalty card carefully. How many stamps do you have? She took back the card and asked, Kang Gelson is also a regular there? He excitedly pointed at him teasingly. He's obsessed with pho. He goes there 7 times a week. Chanbi tilted her head curiously. You like it that much? Then he lowered his head as if pondering something, then smiled, turned and called to the two who were dazed behind. Even better, let's go. He suddenly felt tense inside, unable to precisely describe a familiar feeling kindling within him. But something made him feel like we've returned to how it was before. He smiled happily, following her back. Wonderful. I don't care what it is anymore. This world is truly beautiful at the Vietnamese pho restaurant. The three entered the restaurant together. Dong Ok simply reminded, "Order for me like usual," Jello carefully asked. "Spicy a lot with coriander on the side, right?" Hearing that, he praised. "You remember well. Then order me some fried spring rolls too," he added. "Order more. I'm hungry too." Chan Bi focused on the menu and said, "They have all the dishes here." He kept glancing around the corners to admire her, then pointed at the menu, reminding him to order this dish. He accidentally said something that caught her attention. "Every time we come here." Chan Bi curiously, realizing she slipped, he quickly changed the subject. "If you want to order something else, just go ahead. It's okay." She hesitated, wondering if it's spicy. He simply advised, "I think that one is for you." She seriously considered, "Then today I'll skip that dish." Then he tried to bring up another topic. "And yesterday," she pointed to another dish on the menu and said she would order this one, not spicy. Carefully raised the phone to take a picture of the dining table. Dong Ok just picked up a piece and looked at her, complaining, "Is that Insta? Why don't you post something more meaningful?" She didn't pay much attention, just casually said, "I post everything." And he added, "I mean, you post too much already." He curiously asked, "How many do you post in a day?" Looking at the diary entries already posted, which were packed full, made Dong Ok helpless. "Look, Chibi is a bit annoyed. So what? You don't know how much Insta has helped me." While the two were arguing, Gello No leisurely poured water. "If I lose my memory again," she awkwardly said, "memory is useless anyway. What's recorded is what really matters." Dong Ok took the cup from his hand and just agreed. He also joined the conversation. "So what about everything you posted over the whole year? What if you lose your memory? Have you figured out what those things are?" She showed clear helplessness and replied, "Yes, I have. I've worked myself to death trying to understand what happened from May last year to May this year." Dong Ok glanced at the phone and keenly noticed, Wait, let me see this." He tapped on a diary in the archive. "What are you and Miss Dove doing here?" She was also surprised. "Is that you? Not the CEO? Uhyok?" Dong Ok responded, "I think that's me." He raised the phone in front of him and asked, "Kang Gelson, no, do you think this is AI?" He carefully examined it, to the point that the diary's image was reflected in his eyes. "This is it," he concluded. "I think that's Dong Ok." He hesitated and pointed to another diary entry. Asked, "Yeah, and what about this one? It's from April 20th. Do you know what that is?" She put the phone away and looked into the archive. "April 20th, huh?" "Ah, this one," she said casually. "That's from the picnic." He was puzzled. "How do you know that?" Her answer made Gello No react. The person sitting next to him said, "Tell me." She raised the phone next to her face and said, "The person sitting next to me then was Yu Sung-gun. She told that he said to us that he came from another school, right? We all believed it. I don't remember anything." He asked in a low voice, "How do you know that's Yu Sang-gun?" She was a bit confused by his words because he himself said so. Gello No calmly lifted his cup and replied, "Got it." Then the three of them sank into the quiet atmosphere of the cafe. He kept thinking about that diary entry, but the person sitting next to her was me. He knew too well. It was indeed taken during the picnic, but that person was Kang Gelson. No, not Yu Sang-gun. He kept wondering, why did he tell her that it was him? Gello No was more and more stunned. Why would he lie about things like this? He swore in his heart, that bastard Yu Sang-gun lied about everything? So she never gave me any false hope or anything, right? The food was served. Dong Ok actively broke the atmosphere. "Whatever, it's time to eat." Looking at the level of excitement, max level always, Chan Bi agreed. "You're right, it doesn't look simple at all." He happily realized, so this really is the starting point between us after collecting 10 stamps for the first card. I invited the whole group to celebrate, and Bek Chan Bi came with us that day. Imagining Chan Bi's face lighting up when trying the food, praising how delicious it was, that was the first common point between us, simply liking the same dish. But that small thing was the beginning of the connection between the two of us. Chibi raised the point card in his hand. Just thinking about it made him even more excited, so our story will start again once more. Jello looked up carefully and asked, "How do you feel?" She was eating with a slight smile, but then when she heard his question, she thought. Then calmly said, "It tastes like ordinary pho dishes." But that sentence made all his previous thoughts vanish into thin air. Really? But at least I still get to eat with her. That's enough. After the meal, it was already late afternoon. Dong Ok spoke up to thank for the meal. Chan Bi didn't mind and replied, "No, just transfer it to me later." Jello took the initiative. "Give me your account number." When Dong Ok touched her bag, she immediately turned pale. She realized something was wrong and asked, "What?" Dong Ok rushed into the cafe like a bullet. "Oh no, I left my phone in the restroom. I'm going back right now." Jello helplessly sighed. He's so flustered. She turned and showed concern, saying, "Jello, you ate too little. Is something wrong?" "What?" Whenever she started talking, he got very tense. "I ate a lot, really." She didn't think so, but seriously said, "For someone called a pho addict, you really ate very little." The inner jealousy screamed, but that's not what I wanted to hear. He helplessly tried to explain, but I also then changed the subject. And you? How do you find this place? Do you think it's worth coming here regularly like before? Chan Bi didn't hide it. Honestly, I don't think it's necessary to collect that many cards. She looked at each of her fingers absent-mindedly and continued. But I plan to come back a few more times. Next time, I'll try the dish you suggested. He blushed slightly, thanked her, and said, no, you should try it. Then remembering the main point, he spoke up. By the way, give me your account number. I'll transfer the money right away. But she refused. You don't need to, she said, resting her head on the strap of her bag, awkwardly explaining. I mean, considering how much I bothered you yesterday, at least let me do this to make it up to you. The answer made Gelno embarrassed again, but we already ordered a lot, and besides, you didn't cause any trouble. But Chan Bi kept it inside. There was trouble, a lot of trouble. Sorry again. Sung Yoon suddenly appeared. Chen asked, what trouble? His cheeks were slightly flushed. Are you talking about this morning? Chan Bi was surprised to see him. Aren't you supposed to have extra classes this afternoon? Sang Yoon smiled and approached. I didn't see those two happily chatting, which made him sink into darkness. How could he blend in so naturally? And why does he always show up whenever we're alone? Suddenly Donggok stepped out, shouting, Chan Bi left already? He forced a smile and replied, no. But seeing Sun Jeon with Chan Bi, he immediately understood. Chan Bi said calmly, let's meet next week. I probably can't go this week. Her words struck a fatal blow to Gelno. He and Donggok looked back. They were planning to meet. Suddenly, he straightened up. Wait, if they are meeting privately outside school, that means the ending is near. He was stunned and couldn't believe it. But why was it his ending? Remembering the diary, he knew Du Sang-gun had lied to her. He rushed to Sang-yoon, burning with determination. That's right. I can't let things end like this. But when he arrived, he awkwardly made an excuse. Luckily, the bus hasn't come yet. Seeing him, he was surprised. Gelno, why did you come back? Gelno struggled to say a few words. I have something important to ask you. He was puzzled by the sudden hesitation, but reminded himself not to beat around the bush. Just say it straight, Gelno. Tell me everything. Sang-yoon was confused. The photo's big. Chan Bi had posted on Insta throughout the year. She didn't remember anything. She already showed you, right? He admitted. She did show me. So, he continued slowly, do you remember telling her about a photo taken during the picnic? He admitted again. If you're talking about that blurry one, yes. I remember. So, he confirmed, the person next to her in that photo is me. He looked at him with determination, but Chan Bi told me that you said that person was you. And I'm wondering why he suddenly said nothing, waved his hand lightly, and calmly denied it. What are you talking about? That's me, he said confusedly. Chan Bi took that photo herself when we were together. He suddenly paused, full of question marks. His voice trembled as he tried to continue. But, she took that photo while with me. He remained calm and continued. Are you sure? You're not confusing it with another photo or someone else? He was stunned, unable to believe it. Every word he said revealed that person was Yu Sang-gun. Gelno's eyes widened, mumbling. But I'm the one in her mind. He panicked. Wait, if both of us were with her then, now I understand. I hoped Yu Sang-gun would say he lied, because that would prove Bek Chan Bi once had feelings for me. But the truth was exactly as I imagined. I became a mere ornamental fish. Even though they made a joke out of it. Chan Bi, what is that? Nothing, Sang-gun. Is that so? The bus is here. Sang-gun interrupted his thoughts. My bus is here. About that photo, that person is definitely me. Even so, let's talk tomorrow. Then the bus sped away, the evening light gently shining on the window. Only a few people were on that bus. Sanjun held his phone, his heart in turmoil, wondering, what the hell is this? He didn't understand what was happening. Akan fell down. Jahiram's voice continued, how long will this go on? Hearing that, Chan Bi's movement immediately froze, letting out a small gasp. Jahiram enthusiastically asked again, has that guy been clinging to you lately? When will the two of you start dating? I mean, isn't now the right time to announce it? Chan Bi's voice hesitated a bit at this moment, and she thought to herself, oh really? Only my final decision is missing. Remembering Gelno's smile, he told her that. This might be the second time I've confessed. Her voice choked up again, silently telling herself, oh my god, try to clarify everything on your own. My head feels like it's about to explode. Seeing my friend stammering, Ji-hyun tilted her head, wondering what was wrong. Before she could do anything, Chan Bi pressed a can of drink against her cheek, making her exclaim, so cold, Chan Bi replied. It's just the ceiling. What do you mean by sticking to it? We just happen to meet often, Ji-hyun said, very surprised. Just happen? You two really? Clearly meet so often it's almost too much. Bek Chan Bi's expression immediately froze, and his voice became stammering. That's true, but why do you keep hinting that we should be more than friends? He's just your male version, just a good friend helping me piece everything together. You're always like that. Whenever I'm close to any guy, you start exaggerating everything. Despite saying that, Chan Bi was applying lipstick. Seeing that, Ji-hyun asked, what are you doing? Hearing that, she raised her eyebrows in confusion, looking at her best friend. Ji-hyun suddenly got close to her face with a fierce look. What the hell, you damn nuisance? It's in your hands again. I thought you stopped putting that horrible stuff on your face. Hearing this, Chan Bi's hands immediately trembled as she took out the lipstick. So what? I like it. Ji-hyun immediately offered, use mine. And then they started fighting over it. No, I like this one better. Oh my god, again. Why won't you let me choose? In the end, Jihyun won and ran away. Chan Bi could only angrily call after her, hey. Meanwhile, the girl was running and crying. I did this for your face only. Chan Bi immediately chased after her, mumbling, what's wrong with her? Grab her first, and in an instant, Jihyun was caught. Chibi looked at her with curiosity. You never said anything about me wearing makeup before, she replied sadly, because back then, you only wore makeup once or twice a year. I'll tell the Chinese teacher to wipe your face clean. Remembering the teacher's expression, Chan Bi was startled. That kind teacher? You probably don't remember anything. Then Jihyun shouted, you should forget how to do makeup altogether. Even the others are looking at you strangely, see? Indeed, some boys were looking over, but maybe because they were noisy. Chan Bi immediately grabbed her friend and moved closer. Without hesitation, she asked, excuse me, what are you looking at? The boy replied, we just only feel the beginning of something. Behind the classroom door, Gelno was also watching, silently thinking, Chan Bi has started treating me differently since the beginning of this year. She often comes close when I'm alone. I used to cherish those brief moments, just the two of us, but maybe she did it for another reason, and that important matter was not what I thought. At that time, she came and told me, just the two of us, I have something important to tell you. Remembering that, he couldn't help but smile self-mockingly. I should stop. I shouldn't interfere between them and make things more complicated. And in a moment, he arrived at the practice field and called out, hey, Sangun, about yesterday? He immediately turned to him and replied, this photo, right? You mean you also have a photo sitting next to Chan Bi, right? I've thought about it and came to the conclusion that maybe both of us have pictures together with her. But the person in this photo is me. Think about it. Why would she post a picture with you? Honestly, I have no reason to overthink this. Charlie can take pictures with you or anyone she wants. Hearing him ramble on without letting AI Chen in, Gelno's face froze, thinking, look at that confident face. Right, it must be true. That face didn't look like he was lying at all. He continued, but then I started wondering, why are you so serious and sensitive about this? And then I guessed it's because you like Chan Bi, right? Hearing that, Gelno couldn't help but be startled, his face turning red. IU Sangun saw that and continued teasing. Just by looking at your expression, you know, I didn't tell you anything about my feelings for her. He heard that and silently thought this was the first time he'd heard that story. IU Sangun then pointed at him and asked further, if you think the person in the photo is you, then you think I'm lying, Chan Bi? Sitting next to her in the photo. Must be a big deal to you, huh? Jilo hesitated and spoke. But before he could say anything, he was interrupted. Seriously, how far are you planning to go? Do you think she has feelings for you? Oh my god. You must have been really excited these past few days, huh? Seeing him not let me say anything, Galo could only give a friendly smile. After a while, he finally replied, I have a valid reason to talk about that because I also have reason to think that between us, it was almost more than just friends, and knowing that it coincided with your situation at that time. Hearing that, he immediately looked shocked. You and Chan Bi? What made you misunderstand so much? Now you're bringing all this up? Jello tightened his grip and explained, you said that Chan Bi told you that she also has feelings for you, but I also know clearly my own feelings and what I saw. It felt all so strange, but I chose to stay silent because there was no proof, he sneered. What the hell are you thinking? Fine, it seems Chan Bi treated you quite well too. But then what do you mean? Hearing that, Jello could only confirm that he didn't even bother to believe what I said. Yu Sangun suddenly turned and asked him directly, are you implying that Chan Bi manipulated both of you at the same time, or what? Jello stammered, if you're not lying, then that's the only conclusion left. Hearing that, surprise was clear on Yu Sangun's face. He immediately asked again, are you sure? Because if not, then you're really treating Chan Bi unfairly, do you understand? Just then, the sound of a soda can dropping on the ground was heard. Both of them looked over and saw the person who had come was Chan Bi, just as she bent down to pick up the can. Yu Sangun called out to Chan Bi. She immediately looked up in surprise and asked Yu Sangun about the Chung class. Let's discuss what to do when we meet next week, he said, then smiled wryly and asked, so what now? Meanwhile, Chan Bi raised the soda can toward Galo, handing it to Yu. Sweat was pouring down his forehead as he wondered if she had overheard them. Nearby, Yu Sangun also took a soda can, then blushed and replied, thanks, by the way, you're wearing lipstick. Chan Bi immediately glanced away and said, lately I feel like I look a bit pale, so the two of them kept chatting back and forth, leaving Jello standing awkwardly beside them. No way, whatever. Just finished talking with Jello first. After a while, Yu Sangun started to leave. Before that he teased him, we're done talking. Let's go, Jello. You better think carefully before going any further. All right. Jilo stood there with his arms hanging down, thinking he had decided to give up to let them be. Then suddenly, why bring up these things? I don't know. If this keeps up, in my imagination, I'll immediately tell a friend that she's teasing both of us. I'm serious. The other person was shocked and exclaimed, really? And then Yu Sangun also left, saying goodbye to Chan Bi, who could only look on in confusion. He then was ostracized by everyone, only able to ask himself, what did I do? I don't remember anything. Ending in disaster, thinking that he couldn't help but be horrified. Could everything really end like that? That would be too much. I just need to think. He turned and ran really fast, calling loudly toward the two over there, Du Sang-gun. But actually, I thought about it again, and I'm not sure anymore about everything I said. If it was all just my imagination, then it's like I'm pushing AI down a terrible cliff, right? I must be crazy. Hearing that, IU Sang-gun looked extremely shocked. He replied calmly, honestly, are you being played? Let's go, Chan-bi. Chan-bi, though a bit timid, looked back at him but had no intention of stopping, asking about returning to class. They immediately asked each other, are you guys fighting? No, the two of us are gentle. How could we fight? But we're not, I swear. We're not fighting. We should plan for next week instead. Fine, as long as there's something you want to eat. Okay. I've already marked a place after checking the location carefully. Chan-bi excitedly nodded. Sounds good, but on weekends, you have to wait endlessly, right? IU Sang-gun just scrolls to another place and asks, so what about this place? While asking, he placed his hand down, and coincidentally, it landed right on Chan-bi's hand on the table. She immediately looked down, then exclaimed, looking at these ratings, they really look appealing. As she spoke, she quickly pulled her hand away. Or should we just come here? Seeing Chan-bi's uncomfortable expression. Yu Sang-gun then asked about the earlier matter that made him uncomfortable. Before losing your memory, you used to hold my hand first. And I mean, even though we weren't official, we were close enough. You know, I don't think I should say this now, but you once said you had feelings for me too. Hearing that, Chan-bi's face immediately flushed red. She stammered, did I say that? I did? I saw her panicked expression. Yu Sang-gun smiled again, secretly thinking how cute she was. He smiled brightly, affirming in his heart, Chan-bi, so that's how it was from the start. If the person you treated like that was me, not Gelno, then I wouldn't have turned into a flirtatious girl, playing with your feelings. And even so, that's probably enough. He seemed to believe me and truly gave up on you. Even though it was all based on a lie, it's okay, as long as we're happy, right? Chan-bi at this moment shyly clenched the hem of her skirt, wondering what she had done as she went into the classroom. They were watching a romance movie, and when it neared the kissing scene, they immediately shouted, it's happening! Except for Galo, they took turns commenting, she's leaving. What is the male lead doing? What do you think he should do? Wake up, guys, it's just a movie. Then the bell rang signaling class time, and they quickly said goodbye. See you tomorrow? The big guy friend also hugged his laptop and stood up, waving hands to the class. You guys go ahead. Galo frowned and asked, is this really that interesting? He replied, I feel sorry for the male lead, then asked again. Well, that counts as entertainment, huh? Oh, and just keep doing what you did yesterday, I mean with Chan-bi. That way, people won't gossip that you two are awkward around each other anymore, he said. Jello immediately turned around and then asked back, are you pretending to be a CEO or what? Why suddenly care about others? He smiled commercially and replied, what are you turning me into? I'm a sophisticated gentleman, you know. Even so, I know you want to be friends with her, so just listen. Keep up the performance like yesterday, because just staring at her all day won't do any good. Saying that, he slowly left, and after he was gone, Gello also started to leave. Scratching his head, he told himself to look at her all day, but inside he was sad, wondering why, even though he had decided to give up, he still felt this way. They all returned to class until the end of self-study, then happily cheered, finally class is over, let's go home. In the hallway, someone was walking very excitedly. That was IU Sang-gun. Ju Sang-gun's after-school schedule. He accidentally met Chan-bi and walked home together, and soon, he arrived in front of class 2BA but saw it empty inside, feeling a bit disappointed, wondering if she had already gone home. She was always the last to leave, but recently, it's been a bit hard to meet her since I told her that she used to like me. That schedule had to be discarded from his mind as he headed to the bus stop, still wondering if she was avoiding him or denying the schedule. The second plan was to take the bus home and call Chan-bi to ask if she had arrived yet. He still appeared cheerful as he picked up his phone to call, but the only response was the cold voice of the operator. The number you dialed is currently unreachable. The second plan was crossed off again. Looking at his phone, it was turned off. He was stunned, thinking she had ignored him. Was I too hasty? Maybe I shouldn't have held her hand, but at least she should have answered the phone. No, no, no. No matter what, I shouldn't call more than 5 times. His hand trembled, not knowing whether to press call or not. Chan-bi once said she hated that. I have to control myself. I can do it. And on the way home, he slowly took out his earphones, happily put them on, planning to listen again to Chan-bi's recorded voice. As soon as he put on the earphones, Chan-bi's sweet voice immediately sounded, if we have to do it again for us, I'm always ready. I don't mind trying again. So that's why you said, tell me what your feelings are like. Something I should remember. After hearing everything, he showed regret. Oh my god, the cutest part wasn't recorded. I didn't have time to record that part. Maybe I should have pressed record earlier. Yu Sang-gun's after-school schedule ended, and as for Gelno, he met the supervisor who gasped as soon as she saw him. Gelno, you're late, huh? It's been a while since I last saw you. The girl who's always late. You've already graduated from this department, so you must feel lonely, huh? Facing that question, he just smiled brightly and replied, just happy for her, ma'am. The supervisor then pinched him. You know that too, huh? Inside the classroom, he just sat quietly staring at a spot where Chun-Bi's shadow was lurking, silently thinking. Now I've really given up. I don't care about her anymore. Meanwhile, Chibi was still laughing and joking with friends. Gelno couldn't help but purse his lips slightly. What's going on? She's in the same class, but how come I didn't notice her? When he entered the classroom, he followed her back, but actually it was because the guy at the desk in front was lying flat on the table. He could only look straight at her and comfort himself that he wasn't paying attention to her or anything. Upstairs, Chanbi was also distracted, twirling her pen. That's right, I have no interest at all. I'm extremely focused. She closed her eyes tightly, seemingly trying to calm herself. Then she thought it was unbelievable that she once liked Ju Sang-hoon, even held his hand. Before it was official, I was crazy. I told myself I had to answer him. I had to go to my mom's house. No time to think about that. If I still remembered everything, we'd probably be dating now, huh? But now, do I still like him? Will those feelings come back? Wait, what exactly were those feelings from the start? With my memory loss, I've never liked or dated anyone. So how would I know what those feelings are? Seeing her fidget like that, Gelno was curious. After class, he went to the teacher's room. The teacher gave him a file and said, "This is from the music room, and this one is from the archives." He politely accepted and smiled brightly. "Yes, ma'am," she added. "And here's a reward for Gelno." At that moment, Gelno slightly turned around. Meanwhile, Chanbi was also present. The teacher sympathized, saying Chanbi must have had a hard time, losing a whole year of study and knowledge. She smiled and said she would try to catch up with everyone, and the teacher reassured her. "Gaining the current amount of knowledge in just 2 weeks is excellent. You're doing very well. So keep it up. If you need anything, just tell me, okay?" Trang Bai politely replied, "Yes, ma'am." Meanwhile, Gelno was slowly leaving, thinking that studying is closely linked with memory. Every time she studies, it must feel like a horror movie for her. But since that day, Chanbi no longer looked tired. Feeling relieved and lost in thought, suddenly Chanbi walked alone into the classroom. Gelno was startled. What is she doing here? Then suddenly Chanbi hit herself in the face with the materials, trembling all over. Gelno sat in the corner watching, not daring to speak. After a while, Chanbi put down the pile of materials. Then she laughed foolishly, then said despairingly, "Maybe I should just die." Gelno was stunned in the corner, still not daring to move. After a while, the bell rang. Gelno went downstairs while silently concluding that she still didn't seem okay. Meanwhile, the group in front ran like crazy, shouting announcements to each other. "Today there's pork belly. Hurry up!" Behind them, Dedan and Jahiram popped their heads out. "I'm here too. You guys came too. Lunch this good and Chanbi's not eating? Yeah, she still has a ton of work to do." Gelno stood dumbfounded watching the two rush off. Soon the hallway became quiet, but Chanbi was still sitting alone in the classroom. Gelno stood outside wondering silently, "Is this called giving up? What can you do now, Chanbi? Why try so hard? For what? Thinking back on what she did to you, are you going to let her play with you again? I don't know either, but right now I want to help, even just a little." Thinking that, he called out, "Chanbi, aren't you going to eat?" Remembering earlier, Jahiram had put a pack of wet wipes on the table and told her to wipe it off. Chanbi looked up confused. "What?" Jahiram explained. "Seems like the teachers want to wipe it out from the start." Hearing that, she had to use the tissue to clean her lipstick off. Back to the present, Gelno stood in front of Chanbi's desk and asked, "Aren't you going to eat?" She looked up bewildered and asked, "What? It's just that I have a ton of things to take care of." Jello's face suddenly flushed. "WHY?" After that, they fell into silence, not knowing what to say. After a while, she finally spoke again. "And you?" "What, Jilo? Aren't you going to eat?" Jilo was slightly startled and quickly glanced away. "I have a stomachache." Chibi bent down to study, replying coldly. "Then you should rest." Jilo's whole body stiffened, replying it's not that serious. She just responded indifferently, "Then that's good." Seeing her like that, Jalo reluctantly turned away, silently telling himself to just go back to his seat. But his mechanical movements caught her attention. She slightly frowned, wondering if he was bored. Then she stopped writing, placed her hand on the table, pointed to the seat next to her, and said he could sit beside her. If there's nothing to do, even though it wouldn't make him much happier, Gello immediately stopped his actions, then shyly sat down beside Chandy, glanced over to look at him, and asked, "You caught up so fast. How?" She said, I have to hurry." But Gello encouraged her. "You'll catch up soon. You're good at this stuff." She replied, "I'm just starting over from the beginning, so." But before she finished, she saw a lollipop being offered to her. Jello's hand holding the candy trembled slightly. "I thought you needed some sweets." Chanbi hugged her, took the lollipop, and said thanks. Jello added, "I won't bother you." She smiled and replied, "It's okay." After a while, the classroom was still quiet like that. Pressing her phone awkwardly, Jilo couldn't help but wonder what he was doing here. He was only distracting her. It was a foolish act. If he had known beforehand, he wouldn't have dared to do that. But when he looked over at Chanbi, he saw her chewing candy noisily. He nervously asked what, then Chanbi pressed hard on a difficult exercise and said, "This damn thing, I can't solve it. Should I just give up?" Jello immediately moved closer and said, "Let me see. Let's see. You just need to find A, right?" 7:10 a.m. The alarm clock rings repeatedly. Tired hands struggle to pick up the phone, feeling bored as they look at the screen. I don't want to go to school. It keeps raining nonstop. I can't even remember the last time I saw the Sunday. The midterm exams of sophomore year are coming, and I'm always sleep deprived. I want to lie in bed forever. But suddenly, a small hand grabs my head. My niece happily calls me to wake up, saying it's time for school, then pulls my hair. I cry out in pain. Then, "Are you up yet? You still have to go." The little girl smiles and runs out of the room to announce that I'm awake. I know because when I get to school, I can see her, a young girl carefully applying mascara. I can be next to her almost all day. Gelson holds an umbrella and walks to the classroom hallway. He steps into the class with a forced smile. Seeing the teacher struggling with a female student in front, he awkwardly greets, "Good morning, ma'am."